What's going on, guys? We're back yet again for one more deck analysis. There's probably many more to come. So let's talk about this deck. I had recorded a deck analysis for it when there were I want to say like 5 or 6 more cards left to come out, and never got a chance to upload it. And then all of a sudden, all five cards had come out, and there were 30 decks, then there were 40 cards unlocked for every deck. And I was just like, I've got one that's like 33 cards for this, or 35 cards for the Masks of Dimir. I was like, I can't do that. I'm going to wait until all of them are out, and we'll be good. So, here we go. Let's do this. 4 Terramorphic Expanses. Definitely worth keeping in. 3 Thought Scours. Use on yourself if you're playing Snapcaster Mage. And is Snapcaster Mage in here? Probably not, because why would Snapcaster Mage be in here? Is there any reason that you would play that other than to put creatures into your graveyard? Maybe just to put creatures into your graveyard. That'd be fine. So, we'll run the Thought Scours. It's a great way to draw some cards. You very rarely want to do it on your opponent, especially if you don't know what they're playing, because if they're playing black, they're going to bring things back from their graveyard, almost certainly. The Guild Mage, I feel like, is an absolute must. He's super solid. He's a little expensive on his abilities, but, you know, 4 mana to draw a card off of a 2 mana cost creature isn't bad, and he's still a 2/2 for 2 mana, so I'm going to keep him in there. Surveilling Sprite dies, you may draw a card. It's a 1/1 flying for 1 mana, and it just dies. That's all it does. I don't like it. Ravenous Rats. Enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card. I don't think we're that big on discarding. It's been a long time since I played this deck, so you're going to have to excuse my lack of knowledge here. So I'm going to get rid of these guys. Counter Squall. Counter target non-creature spells. Controller loses 2 life. That's not bad. Last Gasp. -3/-3 to a creature. Might be better than Doublade in some circumstances, like when you're staring down a Halo Hunter. So, we'll leave in the 4 last Gasps. Treasure Hunt. I'm not a fan of Treasure Hunt. Reveal cards off the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card, and you put that card into your hand. It's, I mean, if you were able to look at the top cards of your library, like with Halimar Depths, or something, like when this card first came out, and you could set up a treasure hunt, it's not bad, but with no way to look at the top cards of your library, I'm going to get rid of the treasure hunt. Hands of Binding, tap target creature, an opponent controls that creature doesn't untap during its control next untap step. Cipher, I'm going to pass on that. We have better removal already with the 4 last Gasps, so I'm not going to worry about the Hands of Binding. Chittering Rats, 3 mana for a 2/2 that says when he dies, when he enters the battlefield, target opponent puts a card from his or her hand on top of his or her library. Now, I talked about this when I was playing the deck, that very often you can get out of control with this, because you can just mana screw your opponent out of the game, because they're going to discard a card that doesn't give them card advantage at all. Like with the Memory Lapse, it's the exact same thing as Memory Lapse, except you get a creature for 1 more mana. Awesome. So I like the Chittering Rats. It's a very solid play there. Becomes blocked, defending player discards a card. They're just going to kill it, or they're just going to take 2 damage. So you have no way of pumping it. Threads of Disloyalty. Enchant creature with converted mana cost 2 or less. You control it. There aren't very many creatures with converted mana cost 2 or less that are worth taking. Tarmogoyf is not in this format. Thank God. They put Jitty out, but let's just be thankful that Tarmogoyf is not in this format. Target player draws 2 cards, or target player just starts 2 cards. It seems good. I'll keep the Consult the Necrosages. Time Ebb is a 3 mana cost, put target creature on top of its owner's library. It's okay. It's not bad. I mean, it's a great way to remove something, especially if they cheated it in, but there aren't very many people that are going to cheat cards in on you. Two divinations, draw 2 cards. I like them. The mind rot, target player discards 2 cards. I don't know how much we are about discarding cards. None of our creatures are like, I get bigger if they have no cards in their hand. I don't think. So, I mean, you can be controlling and make them discard cards, but I'm going to get rid of the mind rot. Because we already have the Necrosages to do that for us. And we also have the Chittering Rats to do that for us. And this is basically only used when they have 2 cards in their hand anyway to make them just discard their hand. I might leave it in there for now. Evil Twin's a good way to kill that big creature that you don't like. That, I like this picture too. I love this picture. But it's a good way to kill that creature that you don't like, you can't deal with. And also give you that big creature that you can't deal with and make your opponent try to deal with it. Doomsday Spectre enters the battlefield, returning a red or blue creature you control to its owner's hand. That's awful. Deals combat damage to a player, look at that player's hand and choose a card from it. That player discards that card. That's awesome. But at the same time, you're talking turn 5 and you're down a creature that you have to replay on turn 5. So I don't like that. Rory, I'm going to leave 2 in for now because there's 4/4 flyings for 4 mana. They have a negative effect, but they have a positive effect, which kind of makes them even in my book, but they're still really big flyers. Arcumancers, I'm going to leave in here because they're basically just really bad Snapcaster mages. Really bad Snapcaster mages sometimes. But they're useful with our Thought Scours, and they're useful with pretty much any card that we play ever. It just gives us a chance to get those back. Mark of the Vampire, +2/+2 and lifelink for 4 mana. No, thank you. White gets green and white get trample and cost 1 less, so that doesn't seem good to me. Reigns of Power. We have a lot of creatures, and we're looking to control the board relatively well. So I don't think Reigns of Power are good for us. Lobotomy. Target player reveals cards in his or her hand. You choose a card. Other than a basic land, search out the player's graveyard, hand, and library for all cards with the same name as the chosen card and exile them. But for 4 mana, it's a lot. There's a lot of cards that aren't 4-ofs in the deck, and a lot of the times, the 4-ofs are the very low-cost cards, so they're not gonna, help us out too much, I don't think. Sleep, tap all creatures target player controls. They don't untap. That's a little bit better than this one that we removed earlier, the Hands of Binding. It hits every creature they have and lets you get in for 2 turns worth of damage. So I think I'm going to leave the sleeps in for now. I don't know if they're going to stay in, but they're in there for now. Target player discards a card, 4 mana. Cipher, it's interesting, but I'm going to get rid of that. Gaslord Refuge, 5 mana for a 4/4 that can't be blocked. When it deals damage to a player, the player reveals his or her hand, I choose a card, and they exile it. They don't discard it, they exile it. I'm going to leave him in there. Shadowborn Demon, worst case scenario, he is a Shriekmaw. If you don't know what Shriekmaw is, he's a 3/2, enters the battlefield, and he destroys a creature. He's out, you play him, he's out there for a turn, and then he dies. That's basically what Shriekmaw did. So, that's the worst case scenario, he's a Shriekmaw. Dire Undercuts, whenever blue creature enters the battlefield, draw a card. Black creature target player discards a card. It's just too much for what it does. Followed Footsteps lets you get out some really ridiculous things, and lets you get some of your things just out of control. If you can get it on like a Chittering Rats, you just lock your opponent out of the game forever. So I'm gonna leave in the Followed Footsteps. Fool's Demise, 5 mana. When enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Is put into the graveyard for the battlefield. I mean, they're just going to instant speed respawn, kill it. Or you're going to put it on their creature, and it just doesn't help you. If you can kill it, you don't really need to worry about taking it. This is just terrible. +4/+4, and if they become the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice this thing. Like, that just doesn't seem good to me. So I'm going to get rid of these. They're also just too much mana. Painful Quandary. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless he or she discards a card. I mean, we've been trying to get them to discard cards here and there, but they're basically just kind of, oh, you're down to 2 cards, well, let's get rid of those from your hand. Make you go into top deck mode. Beacon of Unrest is amazing. Puts an artifact or creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and then it goes back into your library. So it's awesome. Shadow Slice, target opponent loses 3 life. Cipher, not really worth it. Enters the battlefield, return target permanent to its owner's hand, then that player discards a card. That might be nice if it's the only thing out. But I'm going to get rid of that. It's just too much mana. 6 mana for a 4/4, no thanks. 6 mana for a 2/2, then enters the battlefield, you put target creature on top of its owner's library, no thank you. Necropolis Regent, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. That's awesome. It gets out of control very fast, and you're okay with hitting. And you're not going to have a problem hitting 6. You know, we are playing 25 lands. You know, this is about what I expect our curve to look like, is something like this. Flying Undying 3/2, no thank you. Smog Elemental, creature with flying your opponent's control get -1/-1. There really aren't that many big creatures with flying. It's only really good against one deck, and that's if they don't have out their bonus power to creatures, to white creatures things, so yeah. Spinal Embrace, only during combat. Untap target creature you don't control, gain control of it. It gains haste until end of turn at the beginning of your next end step. Sack it. If you do, you gain life equal to its toughness. That's a good card for you. Stolen Identity. Put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of another target artifact or creature, and then you can cipher it. So you can put it onto something else. So I think that'll stay in there. So you can like put it onto, I don't know, onto the Gas Lord of the Fuge. And then every time he attacks, you can put out another copy of the Gas Lord. And he just does stupid stuff. Guardian of the Aegis, 7 mana for a 7/7 with Defender. And you actually have to be attacked to make him lose Defender and gain Trample. It's just weird. I don't like it. It's just too expensive. Colossal Whale attacks you. You may exile target creature defending player controls until Colossus will leave the battlefield. They're gonna kill it. So you don't need that. It's gonna die, and if it doesn't die, you're already winning the game anyway, because if they're not able to deal with your 5/5, you've won the game. Diluvian Primordial enters the battlefield. For each opponent, you may cast up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard without paying their mana cost. So we talked about this a little bit earlier in one of the other deck analysis, that creatures, or most players play aggro decks in this format, or control. Control is not going to help you to cast one of their counter spells or one of their removal spells, because most of them are like Doomblade and can't target a black creature, and they're probably playing black if they're, you know, a control like that. Or, you know, you might get lucky and be able to cast a Char or something, but that's like really your only option that's good. So I don't like him. Hollowhorn Barghest, it's a Demon Hound. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have no cards in your hand, each opponent loses 2 life. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player has no cards in his or her hand, he or she loses 2 life. So, I mean, they have to have no cards, basically. Commander, you may exile 2 blue cards from your hand rather than play Commander's mana cost, gain control of target non-creature spell, and Commandeer, not Commander. Commandeer. That's like, that sounds a little bit weird. I'm just reading it fast. I'm getting tired. I've been recording for like 3 hours. Gain control of target creature, non-creature spell, and you can choose new targets for it. So, someone casts an enchantment spell, you can retarget it. Someone cast a big old counter spell, you can change the target of it. And you can do it like instant speed. I don't know if it's worth it though. I'm definitely getting rid of the Mind Mass Leech. Deals combat damage to player. You may look at that player's hand. If you do, you may cast a non-land card from it without paying its mana cost. Just 8 mana. That's a little too much. And then if the opponent has no cards in his hand, you can cast him. So that's not bad. You know, very often you'll be able to cast this guy like turn 5 or 6. It's not ideal, but let's see. Is there something else I'd rather take out than Commandeer? Probably not. So I think we're gonna lose the Commandeer. Yep. So this is my Dimir list then. I don't know how great it is. Let me know what you guys think of it. So we've got 4 Terramorphic Expanses. We've got 3 Thought Scours. We've got 4 Dimir Guild Mages, 1 Counter Squall, 4 Last Gasp, 3 Chittering Rats, 1 Consult the Necrosages, 2 Divination, 1 Mind Rot, 2 Evil Twins, 2 Aurories, 1 Archaeomancer, 2 Archaeomancers, sorry, 2 Sleep, 1 Gas Lord of the Fugue, 1 Shadowborn Demon, 1 Followed Footsteps, 1 Beacon of Unrest, 1 Necropolis Reagent, 1 Spinal Embrace, 1 Stolen Identity, 1 Avatar of Will. So I think that's all the decks that I have unlocked currently that I have deck analysis for. Now this one might come out before the other ones. I need to work on finishing that one, and these 2. So let me know what you guys think of the deck. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, comment, do something so that I know that you guys are out there. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.